Shemel Shai. Yahweh Shemel Shai. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
Shah La War.
Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despised thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings, and thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, dealing with the politics of the devil. All right, it's all a lie. Okay, it's all a lie. All right, and Esau, Edom, who's the devil. Okay, the wicked that the Bible speaks of. Okay, is being exposed, and for the longest, he was looked at as a man of honor. A man of integrity. Just innovative. Creative. All protecting. All knowing. Just this super, all right, race of people in the earth. Okay, that these devils, were superior, and they were just, these upright, the model of how to be. Okay, but as the Lord has allowed, truth to flood the earth. All right, beginning with the prophets, you know, and then you have certain truths, you know, and this devil is being exposed by, you know, other platforms as well. Okay, well, there's a real picture being painted, all right, of the people in power, these Edomites, all right, these so-called white people, these self-proclaimed, all right, white people, okay, that run the earth. Okay, so let's get into some prophecy. And I got a few videos, you know, that goes into dealing with how it was all an illusion, it was all a lie. Okay, from the beginning, you know. So when you go here, because one thing about it, the Bible describes the nature, you know, and the shystiness and the intent, the true intent, okay, and the deception and the lies. Okay, it describes the way that the so-called white man thinks. It describes his spirit, his heart, how he was created, you know, and it describes his characteristics and how he will run the earth. Okay. And as we go into the book of Psalms, just in the A&P, Psalms 144:7 says, stretch out your hand from above, set me free and rescue me from great waters, out of the hands of hostile foreigners who surround us. Okay, out of the hand of hostile foreigners who surround us. And this is the devil, Esau, Edom. You know, the scriptures say, you know, the wicked have spread himself like a green bay tree. Okay, and this devil has taken root in the entire planet Earth. You know, he influences every government, you know, every you know, society, okay, in the earth, man. Business, industry, money, military, he has his, you know, entertainment, news, okay, religion. Okay, this devil has infiltrated everything, you know, and we have to be rescued, all right, from this man and his wickedness, man. Okay, we need a higher power, you know, to intervene. Okay, because the Lord has allowed this man, okay, to conquer the earth in complete wickedness, man. You know, through the sword. All right, and he's the hostile, okay, foreigner, man. You see, verse 8 says, who mouths speak deceit without restraint. Okay, this man's whole kingdom is based off deception, because the scriptures say in prophecy, when he was loosed, he would go do what? Deceive the nations in the four quarters of the earth. Okay, so the foundation of this man's rulership is based on deception and lies. All right, he does these things without restraint. There's not a lie that the devil won't tell. Okay, and the scriptures speak about how he's more crafty than any, you know, beast of the field, going back to the serpent. Well, we know that's the spirit of Esau, you know, because no other heathen, all right, is as crafty when it comes to deception and lies. Okay, but this is a major part of this man's rulership is deception. You know, that's why a major threat to his rulership is truth. You know, especially the truth of the scriptures, man, that tell the whole matter. Okay, and it says, whose right hand is the right hand of falsehood. Now your right hand is supposed to be a place of honor. Okay, and this man's right hand, you know, his politics, his judicial system. Okay, systems of, you know, that's supposed to promote health, and, you know, these different industries that's supposed to be about health and, you know, regulate the environment. It's all based in falsehood. Okay, everything that this devil, all right, everything that's supposed to be honorable, you know, in the man's kingdom is falsehood amongst this devil kingdom, man. Okay, so his right hand, okay, whose right hand is the right hand of falsehood, man. It's all lies. Okay, and that's what's constantly being, you know, revealed in his days. In these days is the lies of the devil. Okay, and the last lie that he needs you to believe, okay, is this new world order, as if it's for your benefit. Okay, as he's doing away, you know, with this old system, well, he wants to present this new system as if it's a thing of honor. All right, as if, all right, your interests, so like as if the interest of the people is the reason behind this new system. Okay, when ultimately it's to double down on the lies and deception of the old system. Okay, because the old system was based on behavior modification, control, okay, lies, deception, okay, tyranny, okay, impoverishing the masses and enriching the few. Well, this new system is going to be that on steroids, okay, with more control than ever. You see, and these men do not mind lying, man. You know, this is one thing, you know, people are reluctant to understand is that this devil will lie about anything and everything. You see, people try to, you know, project, you know, some type of righteousness on this devil. Okay, but we have to understand there's no lie that this nigga won't tell. Okay, you see, Esau don't care on a whole nother level. You see, and people are going to find out the hard way. This is Psalms 52 and 2. In the AMP, it says, "Your tongue devises destruction like a sharp razor working deceitfully. You love evil more than good and falsehood more than speaking what's right." Okay, so this is the mouthpiece of Esau Edom, the people that, you know, speak on behalf of Esau, these politicians, these governments, okay, these certain, you know, groups, you know, the UN, WEF, you know, the World Economic Forum, WHO, World Health Organization, all these different entities that speak on behalf of the so-called white man. It's all based in lies, man. You know, and this devil's legislation and laws and, you know, his government, okay, they do nothing but devise destruction for the people that they rule over. It's like a sharp razor working deceitfully, man. Okay, and the sharp razor is deadly. Okay, but he presents, you know, the sharp razor, okay, as if it's for your benefit. Okay, this is all what this devil is about. You know, you trust in this man, okay, you get destroyed, man. You'll get, you know, chopped into pieces dealing with this man and his policies, man, and his government. Okay, verse 3, it says, "You love evil more than good and falsehood more than speaking what is right," man. So if this man had the option to tell the truth and tell a lie, he's always going to tell a lie. This man enjoys falsehood. He thrives in falsehood. Okay, and this is how this man was built to be. Okay, everything that this man has set up in this system is functioning exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay, he's just lying to you like he's trying to fix it. Okay, but it's functioning exactly how he wants these things to be functioning, man. Okay, so let's play this. Well, let me read this and then we're gonna segue to the video. It says, "You love evil more than good and falsehood more than speaking what is right. You love all words that devour, O deceitful tongue." Okay, O deceitful tongue. Okay, and this man has lied about everything that you can think of, man. Okay, from his school curriculum, you know, to his health system, his medical system. Okay, you see the reason why they go to war, and you know who's the real terrorists, and drugs, and war on drugs, and war on poverty. Okay, all of it's been a lie. Okay, you see. So let's segue to this video. Okay, now this is George Carlin, you know, elder, the beloved elder Apostle Kabar, you know, always goes into the statement, you know, that he coined about America, CTD, which is circling the drain. All right, so this is that comedian, okay, that he always criticized, you know, America, you know, and a lot of people, you know, came against him as if they thought he was just tripping and he's this conspiracy theory. You know, he's just this conspiracy theorist, and you know, this is comedian. And no one really took him serious, you know. But a lot of things he said is now the main talking points, okay, amongst society, man. As people, you know, are waking up, you know, and realizing, okay, that everything was a scam, everything's a sham. Okay, so let's play this.
Politicians and the media always pushing the things that separate us, things that make us different. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They divide the rest of the people. They want to put street criminals in jail to make life safer for the business criminals. Yeah, they're against street crime, providing that street isn't Wall Street.
This man tried to warn us not once, not twice, but over and over again. He spoke the truth about issues long before most people were ready to hear it. Unfortunately, we didn't pay attention. In this video, I've put together several clips of George Carlin speaking nothing but the truth. Some of the footage isn't the best quality, but what matters here is the message. So bear with me, and really listen to what he was saying, because this was never just comedy. Let's start with this.
They're out in the open now. They're not even trying to conceal it anymore. The owners of the country they got their election. They said, we're going to get this election. We put you people in that court for a reason.
All right,
now's
back
the time
to
pay
earth
us.
for you now.
Yeah, forget all that stupid. Will you? They're out in the open. They're openly driving the bus, and we're all in the back.
There is no national conspiracy to buy elections and control America. Now
Talk about back to earth.
conspiracy, but
You don't need a formal conspiracy.
Right.
When interests converge, these people went to the same universities and
please.
fraternities. They're on the
It's
same
very
boards of
simple.
directors. They're in the same country clubs. They have like interests. They don't need to call a meeting. They know what's good for them,
It's a
and they're getting it. And there
Is
used
there-
to be 7 oil companies. There are now 3. It will soon be 2. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties. There are a handful of insurance companies. There are about 6 or 7 information things. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors, because you have the illusion. You have the illusion of choice. Right.
And one thing that he pushes is the illusion of choice. Like he said, here it is. Your vote don't matter. Okay, it's an illusion. That you have some type of say so. In choosing your politicians or your major politicians. Okay, so they have this illusion of choice. And the elections, are nothing but a participation, ballot, to see who still participates in the society by the fact that you're still voting, means that you still have some type of faith, within this system, that you believe that this system can be fixed within itself, and if you believe that, you still can be told damn near anything. But he goes into this illusion of choice. All right. And as you see, you have this simple nigga, on the panel, they don't, but then people for the longest, in their mind, the government would never do this. The government would never allow, this to happen or that to happen. Well, your government has been at war with you, man, and your government has been brought out. And like I said, you get this illusion of choice. You see, you get to choose between Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Powerade and Gatorade. Doritos and Cheetos. See, they give you all these options and choices that don't matter. But the things that really control the country, that really control the economy, all right, people don't have a choice in that. They control the education, the school curriculum, the things that matter, people have no choice in. That's only for the elite few. And like he said, they go to they're in the same country clubs, they're in the same colleges, all right, because these people that we see, all right, that's at the top, the super rich, these politicians, they're not just random people that's being voted in, or they're just not random people who became rich off capitalism. No, they're all a part, of these certain secret societies, these certain, old bloodlines that go back to the beginning during the Renaissance. So these not just random people that they're putting in positions of power. These people have all been conditioned and groomed, under the same banner, all right, under the same order of the wicked elite. So this is not a random thing. You don't just have a random president, a random prime minister, You don't just have a random, a billionaire, These things, all right, go back to a doctrine and bloodlines, all right, of these elite Edomites, man. Okay, so let's play this.
You don't get the real important choice. There's no freedom of choice.
In this first clip, George Carlin pulls the curtain back on power. He explains how the people who truly run things don't need to hide anymore. There doesn't have to be a secret meeting or some dramatic conspiracy. When interests align, when the same people move in the same circles, sit on the same boards, and benefit from the same outcomes, control becomes automatic, choice shrinks, ownership concentrates, and the public is left with the illusion that they still have a say. He takes that idea even further here.
I don't like orthodoxy of the left any more than I like orthodoxy of the right. The right-wing Christians are trying to control your behavior. They're trying to control the behavior of other people. The left-wing academics are trying to control the language and behavior of people. I don't like anyone trying to control and dictate to me from an orthodox standpoint.
In this clip, Carlin shifts his focus to control from another angle. He doesn't spare anyone. He calls out both the right and the left, pointing out how different groups try to dictate behavior, language, and thought. His point is simple. Anyone who wants to control how you think or speak, no matter where they stand politically, is part of the same problem. And this is where it gets more dangerous.
So you'll always have censorship. You'll always have attempts at silencing or altering the way other people speak and think. That's the important thing. So if you can change people's language, you can change the way they think, because you think in words. So that's the dangerous part. After they clean up the obscenity and the profanity, then the next thing they'll want to clean up is these dangerous political thoughts. These people who have these dangerous thoughts. It's just it's an attempt to control others, and we have to be alert. That's all.
Here Carlin explains why language matters so much. Why censorship is never just about cleaning things up or protecting people. Once language is controlled, thought follows. And once thought is controlled, freedom doesn't disappear loudly. It disappears quietly, under polite excuses and good intentions, until people don't even realize what they've lost. Now he zooms out and looks at the bigger picture.
Americans seem to think that the party's going to last forever, and the holiday goes on, and they don't really see the error of certain things. I mean, Thomas Rainsford Lounsbury was an educator in the 19th century, and he said, "It never ceases to surprise me at the infinite capacity of the human mind to resist the introduction of useful knowledge." And that's what it is. People know better. People sense better, but they go against it. They just think there are no consequences.
It kills me
It's a steady downhill slide. This country is really finished. I mean, it really is technically finished. It's just a matter of playing out the end game. Well, it's true. It's true. You can see it. You can smell it. Anyone who can't see it or smell it doesn't understand. Yeah. There's a medical term that they use in hospitals when a person has no future left on this planet, they can't be helped anymore, and they put it on the chart, CTD, circling the drain. And that's what we're doing. We're slowly circling the drain, and the circles get smaller and they get faster. I enjoy it. Personally, I don't have a stake in the outcome. I personally enjoy this circus that I've been invited to. I've often said, when you're born in the world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. When you're born in America, you're given a front row seat, and I couldn't enjoy it more.
In this clip, Carlin talks about America as a whole.
Like he said, it's done. He's been saying this. Now, apostles and elders, all right, was saying it before this, when they was going into biblical prophecy, man. Okay. But one thing about it, if you're honestly, studying the truth about, American politics, the world and how it really works, you come to certain conclusions. Now he doesn't, he's not able to explain these things biblically. Okay. You see, he's not meant, to teach the truth and be a prophet. He might be a Jake, might not, don't know, but if you, all right, are honestly, studying this man's system and how it works, you'll have to come to the conclusion that it's wicked, all right, and that it can't continue like this. Okay. So he said that this place is circling the drain, man, CTD. Okay. And this was several years ago, man. So how much more now? Okay. Things have accelerated. You see? And just like he said, this place is just going through the motion. This place is on borrowed time. Okay. And this is why, patience is a valuable thing. because we're just waiting on the collapse. The collapse is in progress, and we're just waiting on the collapse. He said something else that he's enjoying it, because he doesn't have any stake in it. Okay, and that's the spirit we should be in more than anyone, because we definitely don't have a stake in this place continuing on. Our hope is, all right, this place collapse, and is wiped off the map, took off the board completely. Okay, so let's play this.
A society convinced the party will never end. He speaks about denial, decay, and a system slowly circling the drain. What makes this unsettling is how calmly he says it, not with anger, not with panic, but with the certainty of someone describing something already in motion. He doesn't stop there.
I'm talking about the fact that a war is old men protecting their property by sending young men, or rich old men protecting their property by sending middle class and lower class young men off to die. It always has been. It's all about owning things. All of this back and forth and debate implies that there are really choices in this country, that we really have choices, freedom of choice.
Well, it's
an
all-volunteer
illusion.
army.
Americans are they're having trouble filling the slots in this all-volunteer army. I wonder why.
So raise the pay of the military.
Let me say one thing about choice. There is no real choice. They say freedom of choice. You're given an illusion of choice. Americans are meant to feel free by the exercise of meaningless choices. The owners of this country don't care about the poor in general.
The owners of this country? What are we going? Is this Karl Marx talking to me? The owners of this country are the voters of this country.
You're wrong about that, my friend.
Aren't the owners of this country the voters in this country who elected George Bush?
Not. Listen, politics, these elections are a charade. It is a charade.
Okay.
It is, they are meant to, well, I'll tell you, just listen for a minute. Learn a little something. The elections and politicians are in place in order to give Americans the illusion that they have freedom of choice. You don't really have choice in this country. I have an addendum to that. The real looting in this country takes place in the transfer of the wealth from the poor to the rich. I'm sorry that you don't like class and the truth, my friend, but you're just stuck with it. And the poor have been systematically looted in this country. The rich have been made richer under this criminal, fascist president and his government.
George, I think you know what fascism is. You know what fascism is?
America,
you know what Nazis are?
No, wait, sir, wait, sir. When fascism comes to America, it will not be in brown and black shirts. It will not be with jack boots. It will be Nike sneakers and smiley shirts. Smiley.
And he's talking about the billionaires. Okay? He's talking about the billionaires. You see? And like I say, I think this was during the Bush administration. The early 2000s. You see, he was telling you that fascism wouldn't come, all right, like the German Nazis, in brown uniforms and black boots, okay, and swastika flags, okay, but with Nike sneakers and smiley face T-shirts, okay. The billionaires, how they dress, real casual, okay. So he's telling you that the fascism isn't going to come like that. It's going to come in these billionaires, which are these technocrats, and it's going to be in Nikes and smiley face T-shirts, man. Okay, let's see. We'll play it. All right, which you went over fascism. All right, which ultimately they're just authoritarian. All right, government, where power is consolidated, all right, to one person, of a government, and they plan on, dividing the earth, okay, into a few regions of a government, all under the banner of a global government, okay. You see? So let's play this some more.
Fascism. Germany lost the Second World War. Fascism won it. Believe me, my friend.
This is where Carlin goes straight to the heart of the system. War, elections, class, race, and power. He breaks down the myth of freedom of choice and explains how elections function more as a performance than a transfer of real power. He points out who benefits, who pays the price, and why the same people always end up sacrificing while others remain protected. And finally, he explains where he personally stands in all of this.
You know what? I say it this way. When you're born in this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. And when you're born in America, you're given a front row seat. And some of us get to sit there with notebooks. And I'm a notebook kind of. Oh my God, did you see that? Did you see what you just... And I watch the freak show, and I get my notes, and I make up stuff about it, and I talk about the freaks. And the freaks are all human, and they're like me, and they're all the same. We're all the same. I'm not better. I'm not different. I'm just apart now. I'm separate. I'm over here because I put myself out of the mix. I don't have a stake in the outcome. I'm not a cheerleader for a given outcome now. Oh, they say if you scratch a cynic, you'll find a disappointed idealist. And I would admit that somewhere underneath all of this, there's a little flicker of a flame of idealism that would love to see it all change. But it can't happen that way. And incremental change, it just seems like the pile of shit is too deep.
In this last clip, George Carlin makes something very clear. He doesn't see himself as better than anyone. He simply stepped aside, watching the circus, taking notes, and telling the truth about what he sees. He admits there's still a small flicker of idealism in him, a wish that things could change, but he's honest enough to say the system is too deep, too entrenched, too broken for simple fixes. When you put all of this together, one thing becomes very clear. George Carlin wasn't just joking. He wasn't just ranting. He was warning us. He understood power. He understood control. He understood human nature. And most importantly, he understood where all of this was heading. Long before social media, long before people openly questioned governments, corporations, and institutions, Carlin already saw the cracks. He saw the lies, the manipulation, and the illusions holding the system together. He spoke about the illusion of choice, about elections that make people feel involved without actually giving them power, about how real decisions are made far away from ordinary people, while we're distracted with surface-level arguments, labels, and meaningless options. Enough movement to feel free, but never enough to change anything. He spoke about control through language, how once you control what people are allowed to say, you eventually control what they're allowed to think. And once that happens, you don't need force anymore. People begin to police themselves. They defend the very systems that limit them, without even realizing it. He spoke about war, class, and sacrifice, about how the same people always pay the price, while the same people always benefit, and how this cycle keeps repeating, not because it's necessary, but because it's profitable. The scary part is this. None of this sounds extreme anymore. We're watching governments lie openly. We're watching mainstream media manipulate narratives. We're watching truth get buried under outrage, distraction, and division. And the more dependent people become on these systems for answers, validation, and direction, the easier they are to control. We laughed, but we didn't listen. We quoted him, but we didn't act. George Carlin was a man ahead of his time, not because he could predict the future, but because he paid attention. He observed patterns. He questioned authority. He refused to be comforted by lies. That's the lesson here. Not worshiping Carlin, not repeating his words, but learning to think independently, learning to question narratives.
Yeah, man, the only change is going to be through Yahweh Shai, you know. So that was it on that. Let's get this precept. And I got one more video I want to get into. But the only change is going to come through Yahweh Shai. Okay? Until a righteous king, okay, comes and conquers the earth. All right, the scripts say Yahweh Shai is coming to wage war and righteousness. That's the solution. You know? And just because you are aware of the lies, well, you have no power. See, it's going to take a power from another realm that's going to come take down this whole system. Okay? When you understanding the lies and being aware of the lies, all right, well, that only goes so far. Then what? Okay? And that's one thing about the truth. It offers a solution. And right? And that's going to be through power. Okay? Isaiah 44:24 said, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth, right, by myself. Okay? And see, this devil, you know, within his rulership, he wants to put himself in the place of the Most High. You know, he wants to redo, all right, creation in his image through his technology. Okay, he's taking on the task. Okay, of trying to be the Most High, man. He's taking on a hell of a task. You see, and it's going to end bad for him. Okay, because this is what the Lord is going to do. Verse 25. That frustrated the tokens of the liars and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish, man. So the Lord is going to do this. All right. The God of the Hebrews, the power of the Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. He's going to upset everything that this man has established in the earth, man. Okay. He's going to do it. Yahweh Shai is going to be sent back, okay, to turn the wise men backward and make it their knowledge foolish. Okay, he's going to frustrate the token of liars and make it the diviners mad. Okay, because everything that this man is trying to do is going to be frustrated. Okay, thus saith the Lord. You see? So let's go here to another video. I'm gonna let this one play. All right, now this is more recent, and this is from brother Yaquab. Okay, the challenge the hopeful elect 3. Okay, so this is a quick video. All right, of people, realizing, this guy realizing that it's a scam, and many people are coming to that conclusion. Okay, you're gonna always have the simple, as the scripture say, that believe every word. All right, but this devil, is being revealed. He's been exposed at an all-time high, and that's why one of the main things that he wants to cut off is this free speech. He wants censorship, and if he's able to set up, this digital system, okay, with this social credit score, all right, which is a high level of behavior modification, well, he can get people to censor themselves, man, because he can cut off their access, to essentials, okay, and privileges, man. Okay, so let's play this.
Let's have a real moment here. Because at some point, someone has to stand up and say what everyone else is too hypnotized to admit. The political system we've built isn't just flawed. It's a full-blown comedy routine performed with all the confidence of people who genuinely think they're saving the world. Every 4 years, we get this dramatic national ritual where everyone pretends their life depends on choosing between evil A and evil B. And the media packages it like a Marvel movie trailer. Coming this November, the slightly less terrible villain you'll feel obligated to cheer for. And people fall for it, like it's the first time they've ever been alive. Meanwhile, the administration, any administration, pick one, is standing there.
And that's a heavy point. He said people fall for, the same trick like it's their first time being alive. People fall for the same old song and dance of these politicians like it's their first time being alive, like they have been lied to several times in every other election. Okay, so that was a heavy point. People fall for these things like it's their first time being alive, man. Okay, and that shows you how deep, the conditioning is, okay, of these psyops, man. These enchantments from Esau. Okay, that's how you know it's enchantments involved. Okay.
With a straight face saying, this time, we promise we'll fix everything. While the country looks like a Walmart after Black Friday. Fluorescent lights flickering, shelves empty, and someone in the background screaming in the distance because the self-checkout froze again. And the funniest part? They say it with sincerity. The current crew in charge could burn your house down, hand you the ashes in a government-issued bucket, and then give a press conference explaining how this is actually progress. This administration is committed to reducing carbon footprints, starting with yours. And then half the country applauds like it's a TED Talk. The other half votes for the alternative guy whose entire campaign strategy is basically, yeah, I might be a dumpster fire, but hey, at least I'm not that dumpster fire. This is what passes for leadership now. A national competition to see which politician can disappoint you slightly slower than the other one. And then people get mad at you for not being excited about it. What do you mean you don't like the other candidate? This one only destroys the economy at 70 miles an hour instead of 95. Oh, well, yeah, in that case, let me go get my sticker. Can't wait to Instagram myself participating in the grand tradition of choosing which flavor of chaos I'd like poured over my life this year. But the real magic trick, the real spiritual level delusion, is how the people still genuinely believe that government exists to improve their lives. As if the purpose of the system has ever been anything except maintaining the system. That's like waiting for your landlord to suddenly become passionate about your personal happiness. That's not how this works. Governments don't create freedom. They administer consequences. They don't solve problems. They manage symptoms. And they sure as hell don't elevate consciousness. Hell, half the time, it feels like they're actively lowering it just to keep everyone on the same page. And somehow, after a couple centuries of this circus, people still think voting is a moral duty instead of what it actually is. A ritualized illusion of choice that keeps everyone emotionally invested in a machine designed to run exactly the same, no matter who's sitting at the desk. And listen, this isn't about being above politics. It's about being awake enough to call the absurdity what it is. It's about realizing that choosing the lesser of two evils is still choosing evil. And the fact that this is considered normal tells you everything you need to know about the world we've inherited. Imagine going to a restaurant and the waiter says, "Oh, well, tonight's specials are poison or poison with a side of fries." And everyone else around you nods seriously and says, "Oh, well, I guess we have to pick the one with the fries. That's the responsible thing to do." Meanwhile, the kitchen's owned by the same people. The chef rotates between both dishes, and the waiter's tip doesn't change no matter which one you order. But hey, at least you participated in the process, right? The truth, the clarity, the reason this message hits deeper than politics ever could is that real change never comes from a ballot box. It comes from individuals who remember they have sovereignty, from communities who build alternatives instead of waiting for the empire to magically sprout a conscience, from people who look at the system, laugh at the absurdity, and step out of the illusion and start living like human beings instead of obedient citizens. When you stop worshiping the lesser of two evils, you stop being controlled by evil at all. That is the point. That is the awakening. That is the whole damn message.
And the beautiful thing, about the gospel, it comes with the solution. The gospel comes with the solution. So let's go here. All right. This is Jeremiah 23:5. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. A king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. Okay? Because there's no power within the people. See, the people have been stripped of all power. These few elite families, okay, all the power is concentrated on them. They create a system where all the power rests with them. And they have made the masses dependent on them, man. Okay? You see, it's been a runaway government. It's been a runaway government for centuries, man. And it has accelerated these last few decades, man. Okay? It's going to take a power from another realm to come execute judgment, all right, and justice in the earth. And it's going to be on behalf of his people. Okay? And that's another problem, all right, is that it's Edomites in power. And that's the truth calls out the Edomites. Okay? Not just, this random, all right, dark shadow government that runs the earth. And, no, this puts a title on, this puts a nationality on the wickedness, which are the Edomites. Okay? It says, in his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai, our righteousness, man. Okay? So the Lord is coming not only to destroy, this current rulership of the earth, Esau, all right, which he's aided by these heathens. Okay? But he's coming to deliver, all right, his people. All right? And within his people, you have his sons, which are the rightful rulers of the earth. You see, this is what Yahweh Shai is coming back to do. Okay? Until Yahweh Shai comes, all right, and wages war in righteousness and execute judgment and justice in the earth. And the only thing people can do is complain, and that's the only thing we can do. But we know who to complain to, and we know what to complain for. Okay? So you go to Revelation 2 and 25, it says, but that which you have already hold fast till I come, and he that overcometh. And see, that's why, I fight, is to stay within the spirit until these things happen. Endure to the end, as the scriptures say, to be saved, because we're being saved to aid Yahweh Shai in ruling the earth in righteousness, man. Okay? Because Yahweh Shai finna take the kingdom. Okay? And set up righteousness as a standard. He's finna enslave the heathen. Okay? And he's coming to deliver his people, and amongst his people, all right, there's a governing body that he's going to establish in the earth. And this is our hope. And we have to keep this hope until the end. Okay? And the ultimate test is not to bend down. Bend the knee. All right? Bow down to this MOTB system that this devil's getting ready to switch to, because he's going to present it, all right, as a solution, okay, to his chaos. Okay? He's going to present it as a solution to his tyranny and oppression. Okay, which is going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be a worse version of what it is now. Okay, well, let's read 26. It says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Okay, to him will I give power over the nations. You see? So the Yahweh Shai is coming, to give his brethren power over the nations to rule in righteousness, man. Okay? That's to fix all the problems of the earth, man. Okay? Because the root of the problem is Esau, Edom. All right? And that's who Yahweh Shai, okay? That's first on the agenda. And his return is you Edomites, man. Let's go here, Isaiah 63 and 1. It says, who is that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? All right, their fathership, along with the heavenly host. Okay, Yahushua is bringing a lot of strength and glory to this realm. And Esau can't do nothing with it. These heathens can't do nothing with it. Okay, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Okay, to save who? His elect. Okay, so the earth has an Edomite problem. Okay, and then and there's the righteous judge, Yahushua. He's coming to deal with the source of the problem of the earth. Okay, that's the first thing on the agenda is you devils, you Edomites, man. Okay, so that's the point. Just want to get into that, man. The politics of the devil, it's all a lie. All right, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful. Shalom.